first thing you should know about Wi-Fi 7 is that it has arrived officially. Starting in January of 2024, the Wi-Fi Alliance, which does the certification testing for interoperability, announced the Wi-Fi 7 certification. And so it is now an official thing, Wi-Fi 7, and there's already products coming out. On the client side, there's already a Google Pixel 8, which has a Wi-Fi 7 radio in it, and Intel already has a Wi-Fi 7 radio chipset that's finding its way into laptops. And throughout 2024, you're going to start seeing enterprise vendors release their first generation of Wi-Fi 7 access points. Well, the second thing is that there's a lot of features you're going to hear about with Wi-Fi 7, and some have more value than others. And some might be consumer grade as opposed to enterprise grade. One you're going to hear a lot about is 320 megahertz channels. The thinking is the bigger the channel, the more data you can modulate. The problem with 320 megahertz channels in the enterprise is it simply does not scale for what is called channel reuse patterns. At home, sure. One AP, one 320 megahertz channel, yeah, you'll be able to get these great new data rates and speeds and feeds, but I don't view it as an enterprise feature. It's a consumer grade feature. 4K QAM is another feature that you're going to hear a lot about, and it's a more advanced modulation technology that we've had previously, and it will give us 20% efficiency boosts and performance boosts. And it works. The problem though is it does require a pristine RF environment and a very high signal to noise ratio of like 40 dB, which effectively means you're going to have to be standing underneath an access point with direct line of sight about 10 feet or a couple meters. Sure, it'll work. Is it really an enterprise grade feature? Not so much. It's more of a consumer grade feature, but it will work, and it will give you that 20% efficiency boost. The enterprise grade feature that I think holds promise is multi-link operation. So think multiple bands with multiple channels. A Wi-Fi 7 client communicating with a Wi-Fi 7 AP on two separate channels on two separate bands at the same time. And that is going to get a lot of hype because there's different kinds of multi-link operation. There's one called MLO aggregation, another one called MLO steering. But effectively, it's something that we've never done before with Wi-Fi. It's communicating with multiple bands and multiple channels simultaneously. And I believe it holds promise for us in the enterprise. There's two kinds of MLO multi-link operation. One is called MLO data aggregation. So think about aggregating an 80 megahertz channel on 6 gigahertz together with a 40 megahertz channel on 5 gigahertz and modulating different sets of data at the same time simultaneously. The end result is data aggregation and greater throughput. Sounds great. Don't have a lot of hope for that on client to AP communications, but I do have high hopes for that technology for mesh, what is called a MLO data aggregate mesh. Now that being said, for client to AP communications, what will work is MLO steering. So imagine a 2x2 client using one radio chain to listen to 5 gigahertz and another to 6 gigahertz. And whichever medium becomes open first transmits with both radio chains at the same time. It could be going back and forth on a per packet basis. The end result is enhanced and improved latency. So Wi-Fi 7 is based on the 802.11be draft amendment, which is called Extremely High Throughput Amendment, and it promises potentially 46 gigabits per second of data rates. Now, first of all, data rates are not the same thing as TCP throughput. And also you should understand that whenever we talk about speeds and feeds, it's under ideal and controlled conditions and with all the bells and whistles turned on inside a Faraday cage. So are we going to get data rates of 46 gigabits per second? Well, that's what the marketing literature will tell you, but in reality, no. It's not going to be near that high because of medium contention. Could we get data rates of, and even TCP throughput of 5 gigabits per second? Yeah, maybe with an MLO mesh. But when you start hearing numbers of 46 gigabits per second, take that with a grain of salt. Probably the main thing that you should know about Wi-Fi 7 is that it is a continuation of the 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi story that began with Wi-Fi 6E. I like to call it the era of 6 gigahertz connectivity and mobility for Wi-Fi. We have 1200 megahertz of new frequency space that we've never used before for Wi-Fi, double what we've had previously, and there's nothing but opportunity. So yes, Wi-Fi 7 has a few new bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, it will drive more communication on 6 gigahertz that began with Wi-Fi 6E.